voice. Hi there, everybody. I'm Jennifer from Fit Mom Durham, and with me today is Dr. Haley Erdman from Durham Natural Health Center. And actually, Haley's a former Fit Mom client and a mom of a beautiful baby boy who's just over 1 now. And we met when she came to our classes, and she's just a wealth of knowledge. And now that she has found herself in our practice in Pickering, I thought it would be a great idea for her and I to get together and have some chats about some things that impact women in their prenatal and their postpartum health. So today we're actually going to be spending some time talking about why we are so tired. And I know this is a question that probably you get a lot, Haley, in your practice. So I wanted to give you some opportunities to help us out because we're exhausted.
Sure.
So why are we so tired? Tell me.
So it could be a lot of things, and it's a very common complaint that women come in with postpartum. The new responsibilities of having a baby, it's overwhelming, you're not getting a lot of sleep and waking in the night. So these are some things that we can't control, unfortunately. You can't make your baby sleep more or find more time in the day to sleep, but we can identify some aspects of your health that might be contributing to low energy and try to improve energy through those routes.
Yeah, because I think that's probably a hard line for the moms to figure out, right? Like you're sleep deprived, your children don't sleep through the night because babies are babies and they don't sleep through the night, guys. Sorry, that's just kind of how babies are. And how do you really identify that breaking point of when is it just I'm tired because I'm not getting the kind of sleep that I'm used to with these longer stretches of undisturbed sleep, but now there's something that you have to look into. So what are some signs or symptoms that might indicate that I'm needing a little bit more than a nap throughout the day? How do I know?
Well, so first, why don't we talk about the common causes of fatigue that we need to investigate first to rule out, to make sure there's no underlying medical issues. So some common things, top 3 are low iron, low B12 levels, and poor thyroid function, so hypothyroidism.
Right.
So in addition to fatigue, which all of these conditions share, we want to look for other key signs and symptoms that might lead us in one direction over another.
Okay.
So if we're looking at low iron, we're looking at being pale, pale skin, pale nails, dizziness and headaches, sometimes cold hands and feet, cravings for things that you don't usually eat, like ice, craving to chew on ice.
I didn't have any of those things. I got the black floaty lines
that
floated in front of my eyes all the time for a really long time. I just thought, I just kept seeing the floaties. And then I realized that wasn't normal. You shouldn't see that.
No.
So dark and black in front of your eyes. So ladies, if you're seeing floating bubbles in front of your eyes all the time, that's not normal. And that's an indication that you need to go and get your iron levels checked out.
Right. Simple blood test, very easy to check out.
Yeah. I was like, but no ice chewing. I didn't have that one.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it comes up and people are
that's
like,
interesting.
It came out of nowhere. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's your iron. Looking at B12, it's some very similar symptoms. So this is where the blood test comes in handy because we can differentiate what is the actual cause. But the other thing with B12, if you have low levels, is sometimes if it's extremely low, you get tingly hands and feet.
Like a pins and needle?
Yes.
Okay.
Sensation changes, numbness. If it's very severe, then we get, difficulties with walking or balance and things like that because it affects nerve function.
Okay.
Most people don't get to that point because that's extreme, low levels, but the fatigue and the pallor and the cold intolerance, those are all associated with low B12 levels as well.
Okay, and I think it's important to start paying attention. I mean, one of the other side effects sometimes as a result of just postural changes in pregnancy is we get really tight upper thoracic tension, and so that sometimes causes compression and nerve compression in your fingers and in your hands or carpal tunnel, but you still want to rule out some of the other things that can also be contributing to it. Yes, we carry a lot of tension and our posture rounds us forward. That can cause a pins and needle sensation, but I didn't even think that low B12 could be another sign for that, and that's another simple blood test that we could go check out.
Right.
Self-care, girls, this is what we're encouraging you to do.
Yes.
Gotta look after yourself.
Yeah, someone has to look after you.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're the one who has
because
to
if
look
you've
after
had a
you.
baby and you've already been sick with like the cold and the flu, you know that no one is looking after you, and you have to look after the baby.
Yeah.
So we're gonna look after you, and you look after your baby.
Yes.
All right, and you had one other one that you wanted to talk about, some signs and symptoms.
Yep, so the last one is low thyroid function. And so things like everything in the body slows down. You get constipation.
Yes.
We talked about the cold intolerance. Difficulty losing weight.
Yeah.
So sometimes that can be obscured with dietary changes. After having a baby, it's hard to eat well, which we're going to talk about in another episode.
Yeah, we're going to nutrition you right up.
Yes. Hair loss, also an overlapping symptom with postpartum. Sometimes nutritional deficiencies.
Right.
Sometimes it's just normal, but sometimes it's thyroid related.
I guess if it's continuing,
yes,
and it's persistent, then that wouldn't be normal.
Exactly.
Because one of the postpartum symptoms of recovery is when your hair starts to fall out. And you kind of hit that 4 to 6 month mark, and you start to shed because your hair follicles are in a different growth cycle now.
Right.
But how long after that? Like what? By the time your baby's 9 months old, it should be done?
Yeah. At the latest, I'd say if you're still experiencing it around the late 6 month, 7 month mark, you need to look into what other causes there might be for your hair loss.
Yes. Okay. Guys, I'm just taking notes for all the things I need to do to look after myself. I'm checking so many boxes right now. I'll be coming to see all of my healthcare team members to help me get back into tip-top shape. Mm-hmm. So some other things about hypothyroidism or low thyroid function. What is it that we could, because I know one of the changes that happens in pregnancy sometimes causes this small disruption in the thyroid. Mm-hmm. So what are some other signs and symptoms of that one? Because I went off. Started chatting. Did we cover that?
We covered pretty much the most common ones. So in addition to the fatigue, the cold intolerance, constipation, difficulty losing weight, hair loss.
All right.
Those are the top ones to look out for.
All right. So ladies, if we're experiencing some of those signs and symptoms, we really want to be proactive, because I will share with you personally, when I discovered I had low iron, it was really, really late in my postpartum experience. And I think that the recovery time that I'm having in terms of just trying to get my numbers up there has been so slow, because I didn't quite understand how long it takes for your body to absorb iron when you have some challenges currently, because clearly I have some challenges with absorption. But I didn't really practice self-care. It's like I took an iron pill for a week, I'm fine. I didn't really experience any of these symptoms until it was much, much later in my postpartum recovery. My kids were quite old, so my body ran on empty for a really long time, I think. And now my recovery is a lot slower. So I really encourage you to pay attention to the signs and signals that your body is giving you, because I know you're consumed with newborn baby care and chasing toddlers around, but you don't want to ignore these things, because the faster you can address them, the faster you can recover, and then the better off you and your family will be.
Exactly.
So in terms of some quick treatment things or some other kind of next steps, once we've identified that we have some of these signs and symptoms, now what do I do?
Well, we can talk about dietary factors. So looking at your diet, how can we optimize the sources of nutrients that you might be missing? So when we're talking about B12 and iron, it's more so animal sourced foods.
Right.
If you tend to lean towards vegetarianism or veganism, we need to talk about how you can find good sources or alternate sources of these foods to make sure you're getting it in your diet. But oftentimes it's not enough, and we need supplementation. So that's where I come in. For iron, there's all sorts of different formulations that I can discuss with you. A lot of the common ones that are recommended by your medical doctor are constipating. So we want to maybe stay away from those things if you're having difficulties in the regularity department.
Yep.
So I can give you alternatives that agree better with your digestive system. And B12, sometimes you need a boost, like a quick boost. We offer B12 shots.
Right.
So that tends to get your levels up faster, and then maintenance would be something like an oral supplement.
Right, because once your B12 is settled, then you're pretty much okay again until...
For a while. Sometimes we can base it on symptoms. So if we're giving a series of B12 shots and you find after a few weeks that your energy levels are dropping again, sometimes you need to come back for 1 or 2 more just to get you feeling good again.
Yeah.
And we can also base it on blood tests. In terms of the B12 blood test, sometimes symptoms don't correlate well with the numbers. So if your numbers are in the normal range,
so my life,
but you're not feeling your best, you might not have the optimal level for you.
Yeah, I think that's what I think is really cool. And one of the things that personally I'm leaning towards in my own health is I keep getting these results back where that to say, oh, you're normal. I'm like, but I don't feel normal. I've got all these crazy things happening. And I think really from a self-care perspective, you know yourself the best. And I really have to encourage you guys to look after yourself and find the people that also believe that you can be your optimal self, that we're not just trying to fit you into a specific box, that we're all trying to work towards making sure that we have healthy lives and long, fulfilling ones, because we've got all these amazing experiences to have with our little families as they grow. And children, they really just suck a lot of energy out of you and nutrients from your body, and they'll thrive and you're going to suffer. And we really don't want to see that, because there's no reason for that.
Right.
So as a new mom to a baby, a 1-year-old, because that's just a lot of work. Like, I love newborns, which is crazy. And then, love them again when they're at that infant development stage, parenting wise, because they're fun. And then one is challenging.
Yes.
Because they're busy.
Very busy.
And there's this level of exhaustion that starts to kick back in again. So what are some things that you could suggest worked for you, especially as you transition back into work, to kind of maintain some balance when it came to some sleep and just doing some self-care for you as a mom?
Well, I think prioritizing food. I found scheduling food a very difficult thing to fit in between work and getting to work and daycare and preparing lunches that I would have to sustain me throughout the day. So I think preparing ahead of time, doing it at night if possible, just before you go to bed, or prepping something for the week or for a few days, making a really big batch of something. We use the slow cooker a lot in our house, so that's a really good way to prep.
That's what we do too. We do a lot of meal planning for the week, and then we grocery shop our whole entire week based on the meals that I'm going to make, and I will actually plan the meals I'll make based on the activity of the night. So I'm not going to make a really elaborate dinner on the nights that we have to be out the door in 10 minutes. And if I have extra time, the past couple of weeks, I've actually felt like I'm on my game because I've been making 2 meals at once. That's right. Amazing. So then, like, on Wednesday, I don't have to cook.
That's
great. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
So I really encourage prioritizing. I think the other thing that I am guilty of, and maybe you are too, is that once the kids go to bed, I still stay up way later than I should. And it's a really hard habit to break, because I feel like I'm entitled to my alone time, because you spend all this time giving to other people, and then you just need to let the TV suck the life right out of you, and I will do it all the time. But what I read in all of the books and what all of our health experts recommend, and what other people that are doing well and having awesome straight A days, they go to bed early.
Had a good time.
Yeah, and they stop watching the screen about a half an hour before they go to bed. And you need to have good light. So I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to say, hey, moms, I know I want to stay up till like whatever, watching a really inappropriate movie and maybe some comedy and just playing on Facebook. And I don't even know what I'm doing, but I'm not going to bed. But I'm going to start doing that earlier. That's going to be my commitment to you. Can you get to bed before 11 o'clock? Because the sleep you get before 11 is more restorative.
I think it's
Or is it midnight?
Every hour you get before midnight sort of counts for 2 after midnight.
After midnight.
So after midnight,
I only count 1, and before I can't do math.
It counts double, so you get twice the rest. It's twice as restorative, is what they say.
Perfect.
If
well,
you go to bed
before midnight. I'm not right now. I'm only going to bed like 11:30. So I'm going to try and get myself into bed by 10 and see if I can double up my rewards. So there you go. So we have a little bit more information for you about why you might be feeling so tired. I really hope that you start to self-evaluate and making sure you're doing those things that are going to help you feel good so that you can function and have a fabulous day with your little families as your babies are growing. And I certainly encourage you to go and see and talk to your healthcare provider. Come and see all the fabulous care providers we have here at Durham Natural Health Center. If you have questions, you can always email me here at FitMom, Jennifer@fitmomdurham.com. Haley, drop your email, baby.
Yeah, if you have any questions, you can reach us at info@dnhc.ca.
Sweet. And there you go. So that's our first little session for you guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll talk again soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.